Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. Devastating new attacks on Iran, the most intense of the war, according to the Pentagon, covering the capital in debris as black rain falls from the sky. What the White House is saying now about how this war ends.
The operations will end when the commander-in-chief determines the military objectives have been met.
Also developing tonight, oil prices fall, but worries remain as Iran's Revolutionary Guard pledges no oil will leave the region until the U.S. and Israeli attacks are over, what President Trump is now threatening. And much of the Iranian women's soccer team defects to Australia after Iran state TV called them wartime traitors on the international stage. Plus, millions under threat tonight from severe storms and dangerous nighttime tornadoes. Rob Marciano standing by with the timing and track. As the new Forbes list of world's richest people is out, Beyonce made it. Did you? Stand by for news.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel.
Thank you for joining us on a very busy Tuesday night, day 11 of this war in the Middle East, the most intense yet for the U.S. bombing campaign in Iran, according to the Pentagon. But the consequences on the U.S. side are coming into sharper focus as well. The Pentagon said today that in addition to the 7 U.S. troops killed so far, 140 have been injured, including 8 severely. Meanwhile, members of Congress say despite briefings, they've been given no official price tag and are instead relying on the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a think tank that's pegging the war costs at over $890 million a day. Also tonight, the White House and Pentagon are working to get on the same page about how long this war is expected to continue. Here's Chief White House Correspondent Nancy Cordes joining us with more. Nancy, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. The defense secretary said point blank today the length of this conflict is entirely at the discretion of the commander-in-chief. It comes one day after Trump told CBS News that the war is, quote, very complete, even as the Pentagon was claiming the fight had just begun.
Iran stands alone, and they are badly losing.
With the war well into its second week and a majority of Americans opposed, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth insisted today the conflict will not be open-ended.
This is not 2003. This is not endless nation building under those types of quagmires we saw under Bush or Obama.
And yet President Trump has said the war won't end without unconditional surrender.
We are hearing no logical estimates about when it will be over.
Democrats briefed by military officials today said the endgame is still unclear.
All of my constituents in Nevada, gas prices are going through the roof.
Trump insisted yesterday he had to strike Iran when he did.
Within a week, if they were going to attack us.
By nightfall, he had shortened that window from a week to 3 days.
Where is he getting that?
This was a feeling the president had based on facts.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said today that Trump came to that evolving conclusion after speaking to his negotiators.
But there are no U.S. leaders or Israeli leaders who are making those same claims. So is he making this up to justify his decision to go to war now?
The president is not making anything up, Nancy. Iran chose this path to death and destruction. Iran wanted to attack the United States of America, and the president was not going to sit back and allow that to happen.
Within 3 days, they were going to strike?
He was not going to sit back and allow that to happen, and everyone in this room should be grateful for it.
Democratic leaders dispute the president's claims. They say they've seen no evidence that Iran posed an imminent threat to the U.S. Late this afternoon, a U.S. official confirmed to CBS News that the munitions used just in the first 2 days of the war cost $5.6 billion. Tony?
Nancy Cordes with the price tag and the picture from Washington. Nancy, thank you very much. We turn now to the war zone itself, where the Strait of Hormuz, the exit point for ships carrying oil out of the Persian Gulf, is effectively closed tonight, trapping vessels offshore and forcing cuts to oil production, which is what's been driving up gas prices here at home. More now from Chief Correspondent Matt Gutman in Tel Aviv. Matt, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. 2 U.S. officials tell us tonight that Iran has started to take steps to deploy naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point through which a fifth of the world's oil flows and a red line for the administration.
As U.S. warplanes target Iranian mine layers in the Persian Gulf, intelligence sources tell CBS News Iran is now moving towards placing mines in the Strait of Hormuz, defying stark warnings from the administration.
If Iran does anything to stop the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder.
Iran has also vowed not to let any oil leave the Persian Gulf until the U.S. and Israel stop their war.
So the mere perception of Iran having the capacity to hit one of those ships is enough to cause the insurers not to insure the ships coming through.
Exactly. You know, they just need one UAV to hit one tanker, and that's it. And they've already done that.
And Iran continues to lob dozens of missiles and drones, focusing fire on the Gulf states. At least one woman died in Bahrain when this residential building was hit. Another attack left an oil refining facility burning for days. Meanwhile, the U.S. and Israeli militaries claim they have crippled Iran's military with more than 5,000 attacks, one of them gutting this Tehran high-rise. Rescuers searching for survivors in that hollowed-out building, rubble as far as the eye can see. And Israel says it will continue to hit Iran's energy sector, the regime's lifeblood.
Is that something we could see more of, Israel attacking energy installations?
We're operating against military targets that have a vital role in the Iranian war machine. And that's how we're prioritizing our targets, and we'll leave some surprises for the next few days.
And just a short time ago, Tony, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu again urged Iranians to rise up against the regime. But earlier today, Iran's chief of police going on television warning protesters that they will be viewed as the enemy and that his force's fingers are on the trigger. Tony.
Matt Gutman for us again in Tel Aviv. Matt, thank you very much. The Iranian women's soccer team was half a world away when the war started, and that is where 7 of them will remain, as it turns out, after Iranian state TV called them traitors. Here's CBS News senior correspondent Elizabeth Palmer.
Tony, the women had been in Australia competing in the Asia Cup when the United States and Israel attacked Iran. In spite of the war, though, they kept on playing. But earlier in the series, at the start of a game, they'd refused to sing Iran's national anthem. And back home on state television, that had them branded traitors. In Australia, anti-regime activists were sure that the women would be in danger if they went home, so they blocked the team bus as it tried to leave. At a press conference, you can see the anguish of their dilemma, especially with more pressure piled on by the Iranian government, which invited them to return home to relieve the concerns of their families. Now, that may or may not have been a veiled threat, but Australia made it clear they were welcome to stay, and at least 5 chose to do that. The remaining players and their coaches have taken off on the long journey back, though it's not clear how exactly they're going to get home, as Iranian airspace is closed due to the bombing.
Liz Palmer for us. Liz, thank you very much. We're also monitoring dangerous storms developing right now in the U.S. from Texas all the way to Michigan. More than 50 million people on alert for potential tornadoes, hail, and destructive high winds. CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano tracking it all for us. Rob, good evening.
Hey, Tony, 6 states now within tornado watches. It has really gotten active just within the last hour. Look at the tornado watch that's south of Chicago. That's where the warm front is. 39 in Chicago right now, 82 degrees in Peoria, and we had a tornado warning there just south of Pontiac already. These watches are up until 11 o'clock, and the second batch, the southern batch of this is no less dangerous. Oklahoma City, just to the west of Dallas, all the way to the Mexican border. That tornado watch also up until 11 o'clock tonight. So things will get dicey over the next several hours. We've got strong winds aloft. We got that instability with all that warm air, and this is all sliding into very warm and humid air. So not just tonight, it'll be overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And unlike today, I think all day tomorrow will be a rough go from southern Louisiana into the mid-Tennessee Valley, Nashville, and even stretching into parts of the Northeast. Damaging winds, large hail, and yes, a few more tornadoes. This is being fueled by intense heat. 84 for a record in D.C., 80 degrees. That's the earliest 80 on record here in New York, and not much different tomorrow. We'll be back into those numbers in Philly and D.C. tomorrow. This sure does feel good in the east, but it is fueling those danger storms to our west. Tony?
Rob, thank you very much. Police in Canada are searching for 2 men who fired shots at the U.S. consulate in Toronto earlier this morning, hitting no one but setting off alarms before escaping in a white SUV. It happened just days after several synagogues in the Toronto area were also hit by gunfire. We turn now to Los Angeles, where the woman accused of firing multiple high-powered rounds from an assault rifle at the home of a music superstar, Rihanna, has a court appearance this evening. Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Carter Evans with more. Carter, good evening.
Well, Tony, the suspect, Ivana Ortiz, just made her first court appearance behind me here in Los Angeles. Initially, a not guilty plea was entered, and then it was withdrawn, and then the whole arraignment was postponed. And we now know more about the 35-year-old woman from Florida. The LAPD says Ortiz drove to Los Angeles from her home in Orlando, and they're not sure how long she's been here, and investigators are still trying to determine why she allegedly opened fire on Rihanna's house Sunday afternoon with an assault-style rifle. The front gate was riddled with bullets, and they apparently went right through it. Police found bullet holes in an Airstream trailer in the driveway, and the Los Angeles district attorney says Rihanna and A$AP Rocky were in that trailer at the time of the shooting. Bullets also hit the home where Rihanna's mother was inside with her 3 children. Now, the DA says Ortiz also fired 2 rounds at a neighboring home. She is now charged with attempted murder and 10 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, along with other charges. Investigators are looking into her social media accounts, where there are a series of bizarre posts about multiple celebrities, including Rihanna, where she rambled about how she thought Rihanna wanted to kill her. Ortiz is back in court on March 25th. If convicted on all the charges, she could face life in prison. Tony?
Carter, thank you very much. Turning now to a CBS News investigation about Medicare fraud involving both identity theft and fake hospice care. It's an area long rife with fraud, costing taxpayers millions, and it may be getting worse. CBS News correspondent Adam Yamaguchi has details.
69-year-old Dr. Lynn Ayani was, according to Medicare records, dying in hospice care 2 years ago. Something she discovered when she sought physical therapy for a pickleball injury.
And I said, what? What are you talking about?
Ayani's Medicare number had been stolen and used by a company to enroll her in hospice care, which she obviously didn't need.
And just to think you're literally without coverage because of some ridiculous, fraudulent thing.
A CBS News investigation found an industry ripe for fraud, especially in California. Companies accused of overbilling, real patients denied care, and it's costing hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars. When we called the hospice that fraudulently enrolled Ayani, no one answered.
Cannot accept any messages at this time.
CBS News analyzed every hospice licensed in LA County, more than 1,700, and checked for the same warning signs the state used in an audit of the industry, like multiple hospices packed into one building, or caregivers whose patients, supposedly at death's door, are discharged alive.
You can't throw a rock without hitting a hospice.
We brought our findings to Sheila Clark, a hospice patient advocate, showing her the more than 700 agencies CBS found with multiple signs of potential fraud.
There's one hospice here that hits all 6 of California's red flags of possible fraud.
Well, there's no hospice there.
Clark tells us when offices like these close abruptly, it's real patients in desperate need who pay the price.
How does that make you feel?
Sad, really sad, because I talk to them every day.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta is responsible for investigating the industry in the state.
I wonder how they can go for a full year and still not have their license revoked. Is that a systemic failure?
We need to be responsive to the red flags and react to them, not just count them, but do something, take action.
The Attorney General's office says it's charged more than 100 defendants. Though Medicare is federally administered, the state licenses hospices to be able to operate. California has also extended a moratorium on new hospice licenses through next year. Tony?
Adam, thank you very much. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News. A nightmare on the roads, a man unconscious at the wheel. We'll tell you what happened next. The Forbes annual ranking of the world's richest people is out, welcoming the addition of 390 new billionaires since last year. Beyonce is among them. But at the very top of the list, you've got Larry Page and Sergey Brin of Google, and then Elon Musk, who is the richest rich man who ever was, a record-setting $839 billion. So you know how you might get excited if you find $20 in the pocket of an old coat or crinkled up in the laundry? Well, for Elon Musk to feel the very same way, with a portion of his wealth equivalent to the $20 for the typical American, he'd have to find $87 million. Moving on. We all know moms are the tough ones, but dad's strength is real, and that appears to be true even if you're a bald eagle. Take a look at Shadow here on the Big Bear Valley live stream, battling 63-mile-an-hour wind gusts, all to protect the two precious little ones he and Mom Jackie are expecting any day now. Well done, Dad. And the new video tonight, a driver in San Antonio knocked out behind the wheel, suffering a heart attack, still speeding down the highway. What do you do if you're on the road with this guy? Most of us might keep our distance, but the couple filming here decided to try something right out of your favorite streaming series. They pulled in front of the man's vehicle and tried to slow it down to a stop. And that actually worked. The man survived. All are okay. That's another day in America. I'm Tony DeCopel. Thank you for watching again tonight. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. Good night.